Hello all, welcome back to the channel. Figured I'd do a little video for you, just so you know that I'm still around and still planning to do stuff on YouTube. And I thought the way I would do that today is by doing a little unboxing on this here, the PolarPro Summit Landscape Filter System. But before we get to that, you might be wondering exactly why I've been missing in action for the last couple of months. Well, I'll just pan you over here, and I've been having myself a little arts and crafts time. First, I did this here Hogwarts Castle Lego set. That took about 4 days, and ever since I finished that, I've been working on this thing, which involves putting a bunch of little diamond-shaped things in these little spaces here, but it's kind of been hard going because I'm 48 years old and my eyes ain't so good anymore. And this is how I'm finding out that my eyes ain't so good anymore. So, my eye doctor appointment is about a month from now, but until then I've got to just kind of try and get this done so I can free up this table for projects again. Electronics ones, that is. As you can see here, they give you this little tiny stylus to put those little tiny beads in, and look at this. I've got these giant Brock Lesnar sized hands, and these just drive me crazy. I'm constantly cramping my hands up trying to deal with that, but yeah, so that's what I've been doing. So, what are my plans for this year photography wise? Well, I've already started moving them into action. I've got most of the stuff I wanted to get for photography last year, but there were still a couple of stragglers that I needed to get a hold of. The first thing I needed to do was solve my storage space problem. Because I want to keep doing 4K for you, I needed a hard drive upgrade. So that came in a couple of weeks ago. I got 4 18 terabyte hard drives, 2 Western Digital, 2 Toshibas. And despite the fact that the 2 Toshibas came out of the Newegg shipping box in what looked to be terribly damaged packaging, which I'm showing to you on screen right now, all 4 work, and all 4 are working well. So, yeah, I finally got the ability to do 4K full-time, but I've got some other stuff planned, and some of that stuff isn't here yet. Like I've got for the Z50, I want to start doing the 180 degree shutter angle rule a little bit more often, so I've got a variable ND filter coming for the Z50 to help me with that, because when it comes to motion blur, unfortunately, I cannot do 4K 60 on all my devices, so I am trying to rectify that with all my stuff that cannot do 4K 60, which includes the Z50 and the drone. And the drone stuff I'll get into in a future video, because that's coming next week. But for now, why don't we just go over and have a look at my main computer for a second. Okay, this here's the main computer. Right now you're looking at my screen, which is a Dell U4320Q, or is it a 4310? I'm not sure. Either way, it's a gigantic 43-inch monitor I bought last year as one of my upgrades to help me do post-processing with for both videos and photography, because that's what the main computer does. That's what it's built for. And the computer itself is right over here. This is a Corsair 900D, which contains a dual Xeon E5 setup here, ASRock EP2C 602 motherboard, and right now it's running 3 RAID arrays. It's got the two 18 terabyte arrays with the new drives, and it's in the SAS controller way back in there somewhere. And then I've got the other RAID array, which was my normal photography drive, which was plenty back when I was only doing photography, but not so much when doing video. And that's all down here. 2 of these are full. Those are 4 terabyte drives. Hitachi Mega Scales. I love those drives. But again, 4 terabytes isn't enough for 4K video, so I've got the 2 new Western Digitals here. They're WD Golds. The SSD for the system drive is right there. That's a 900 gigabyte or so. It's a Corsair Neutron. And the 2 Toshibas are up here. Those are actually my movie drive. They replaced an old HGST 6 terabyte unit, which was almost full. So that's been upgraded. And I've got a general video drive right here. That's another Hitachi Megascale, 4 terabyte. So yeah, one thing I'm going to have to try and do this year is upgrade those 2 guys. That's a 290 and that's a 290X. And those were great when I was back doing crypto mining, but for video rendering in 4K, they don't work so good. They're just a little too slow for it. So I gotta try and swap those out for a newer NVIDIA card, which hopefully I will be able to do, because otherwise the software I'm using is DaVinci Studio Resolve, and it doesn't leverage the Xeons at all. If it did, this thing would wipe the floor with 4K. But unfortunately, Studio Resolve uses the video cards for processing, so usually takes me about 45 minutes to an hour to render a 4K video with these things, even with 2 of them. So yeah, gotta get those upgraded. But how about we stop rambling about computers and stuff and get to the main meat of this video, which is the PolarPro system. I'll switch over to the Z50 and we'll just get into that now. Okay, the Summit filter system. Now, why did I go ahead and buy this? Well, one of my main goals for 2022 or whatever it is to sort of next level my photography a bit. I've sort of been coasting along, I think, over the past few years, since 13. Haven't really taken filters all that seriously. I've got a couple, I've used a couple, I've broken them out once in a while for specific projects, but I've never really gotten serious about it. Most of the time when I use a filter these days, it's to try and catch daytime lightning, and that's about it. I hardly ever felt the need to break out a CPL filter, which I've gone over in a previous video. And yeah, I just feel like I haven't really been stretching my legs as a photographer very much. So I thought I'd deal with that this year. This was the very last item on my photography wish list for last year, and I thought, as the year drew to a close and I saw what my tax bill was going to be like, I thought, well, let's just wait till January, see if I can afford it, then we'll do the hard drives and the filters. So January's here, and did the hard drives, here are the filters. Now, why would you want a landscape kit like this? Well, if you're in the same situation I am, where you haven't bought any real decent lens filters before, this is kind of something that PolarPro is sort of targeted for you. So, what we've got in here, I'll show you this one first, which I have previously opened. I will disclose right now. This is the free one that they gave me as part of the deal. They're doing a special right now where if you buy this kit, you get an ND1000 filter for nothing, which is good because these cost $200 each, US. So, yeah, this is basically one heck of a set of dark glasses for your camera. And this is so strong you can actually see my camera in the reflection. But if I take the filter and move it up here, well, I guess you can't see anything, but that's the idea. You put these on your camera to use as dark glasses so you can take long exposures in the daytime. And why you would want to do that, I will cover in a future video. But anyway, that's basically the PolarPro system. You got a bunch of these that slide into a holder, and the holder is in there. So we'll get in there and see what's in there. Well, it looks like we've got a few different carrying cases in there. There's an ND64 in there that's a bit less strong than the ND1000 I just showed you. Well, actually, it's a lot less strong. This here is a circular polarizer. Very important if you're shooting water or cars, as I've mentioned before, and want to keep reflections down. And this here is the ND4 grad filter. I'll just turn it sideways so you can see it. And I'll get into this right now. The reason why this one is differently shaped than the rest is so you can move the grad part of the filter up and down as required. And I'm tearing this bag just trying to get in here, but oh well. I'll show it to you here. As you can, well, maybe as you cannot make out, it's graduated. It's got more filter up at the top and it's clear down at the bottom. And they've got this set up so you can slide it up and down so you can put your grad where you want it. You can get other filter types like a hard grad or a reverse grad in this system, but I didn't go for that just yet. Let me just try and put that down somewhere so it's protected. I could just slide it back in the case. Let's do that. That grad filter I'm excited about because I've never had one before and I've needed one before. So we'll get into this case now. Toss the box away. Nice little carrying case they give you. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to handle this in my photography backpack, but I'll figure something out. Now in here, what is this now? That's the 77mm adapter. I guess there should be an 80 something millimeter one here somewhere, which is far more important to me than that one because this one only works on my 20mm prime lens and it will be used on that lens. Don't mistake any. Boy, my brain some days. Don't get me wrong, it's going to get used. That's what I meant to say. Anyhow, let's get the rest of this out. Oh yeah, there's the 82mm one. The 82mm is very important because that is the filter diameter that my brand new Sigma Art 24-70 takes, and that's what's going to be used with this filter kit most often. And this is just the other side of it here. This lens hood comes with it just to keep rain and dust and reflections off the glass, which is nice. Now let me see if I can get this off so we can take a look at how this works a little better. Probably should have gotten out one of these filters just to demonstrate it. Anyhow, what happens is you undo this little set screw here. Then you take this adapter off and you attach this to your lens. Then when you're ready to do some shooting, you throw it back in there, tighten up the screw, and then you can go to work. But the place for the circular polarizer is just right in here. Just sort of rides in this channel here. Let me see if I can get it out. Where did I put that thing? It's here somewhere. There we go. Now watch me tear this bag all to heck and gone. Sorry to do this off camera, but I'm just fighting with that. Okay, so here's the circular polarizer. You can see the designation right there. And I do believe this just fits in there like that. And then you click it down into place. And then when you want to change the polarization, you go at it from the sides and you can just adjust it around like that till you've got the right angle of polarization you want. And let me just get the ND1000 back out just so I can show you where that slides in. This goes in from the top, like so. Then you tighten these in, and now you've got your lens filters all set up and ready to go. Unless, of course, you want to put this thing back on, which you can. But yeah, this should really help my photography this year, I think. I don't know how often I will be using this, but it will get used because I am planning some mountain hikes. And in order to photograph mountain lakes, you kind of want something like this. Because you want the circular polarizer to knock down your reflections off the water. And you want the dark glasses on the front just so you can slow down your shot and make the water look all nice and smooth. Anyway, that's the plan. So, that's the PolarPro Summit Landscape System. They do have other systems you can buy for different purposes. Like there's one for videographers, but I didn't go for that one because I shoot with the Z50 and yeah, they don't really have a system for the Z50 there because the Z50 takes these tiny little 46mm filters, which drives me crazy some days because you can't really find decent lens filters very often for 46mm filter threads. Well, you can, but they're extremely expensive. So the one I've got coming, the ND filter, is just a $30 sort of value brand one, and I just hope it works. But anyhow, that's enough of the filter system. I guess I'll see you in the next video, which should be the drone accessories. Take care.